Hey guys, so we've got the Sephora VIB sale coming up. It starts November 1st. For Rouge members, I think it starts at a later date for VIB and insiders. I'll have all the information down below in the description box. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm going to look up the particulars and list them down below in my description box, dates and the percentage off and all of that stuff. So what I have done in the past for recommendations videos is I will go by brand. I used to go by category. I would talk about foundations, I would talk about concealers, but I noticed whenever I watched those videos, I personally got a little overwhelmed. So I thought maybe let me go by brand, and you guys seem to really like it. I did it for the Beautylish video and I've done it for the past couple of Sephora videos. So I thought I would just continue in that vein until you guys tell me no, but that's what we're going to be doing today. So this video is going to be long. It will definitely be longer than my average video. My Beautylish recommendations video was 50 minutes long, but what I like to do is create a very detailed description box for you guys. I like to do that in general, but for these videos especially, what I will do is list out exactly what I'm talking about. I'll have timestamps down below so that it's easy for you to come back and refer to. It's easy for you to jump around. If you come in here and you're like, you know what, I'm only interested in like Tom Ford stuff, you can go straight to that section. So I did want to mention that one of the things I really try and avoid is wasting your time here. So without wasting any more of your time, let's go ahead and jump into my recommendations for this fall's Sephora VIB sale. So I'm on the Sephora site right now. I'm going to try and avoid talking about anything that looks to be out of stock at the moment. I'll probably just kind of mention them in passing. I won't dwell on them because they may come in stock. So I just wanted to mention that the entire Tom Ford Soleil Neige collection, I love. The eye quads, the eye duos, the glow sticks. I love every single one of them. I did a collection video for that, which you can find in my videos if you'd like, but I recommend every single thing from that collection. I purchased every single thing from that collection and there was not one dud. I loved every single piece from there. So if any of that appeals to you and it's in stock, I would grab it. But I did want to mention some other Tom Ford favorites, one of which I actually have on my eyes today, and it is one of the Tom Ford eyeshadow quads. It's in Double Indemnity. So this one is Double Indemnity, and this is one of the newer quads that came out right before the Soleil Neige collection was released. And this has the 4 shades that are of that wet dry formula. I think they just go on so beautifully. They blend beautifully. They look gorgeous on the lids. They're all shimmers, so there are no mattes in here. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I have these 3 colors on. I have these 2 on the lid, and this is basically like lining my eyes, and I love it. I don't know, this just says like fall winter to me. I don't know if it's just me, but maybe it's because it's cool toned, maybe because of this black shadow, it has a little bit of like holiday drama in there. But I remember getting this one and thinking this is going to be so perfect for the fall winter. I also really love the Body Heat quad. That's the other one that came out at around the same time as the Double Indemnity, and this one is a little bit more neutral. It's a little bit less cool than the Double Indemnity. So this one has been great for the fall weather, but because it is fairly on the neutral side, like this one is a little bit on the warm, but if you kind of block that one out, you have these 3 shades that are just great for every day. So these are the 2 quads that I have really been reaching for outside of the Soleil Neige quads. I have also been loving the Gloss Luxe lip glosses. These are the new lip glosses from Tom Ford, and I'm just going to mention 2 shades. I have, I think, 9, maybe 10 of them. I really love them all. They're wonderful. And I've been using all of the colors, since I got them. I really enjoy all of them, especially the really bright punchy colors. I was really loving for the summertime, but the 2 that I think I'm going to be reaching for even more during the fall winter is the Fantôme color. This is one that I've been reaching for a lot. I mean, it doesn't really matter what season it is. I just love this color. And because it's a gloss, it's not quite as dramatic as it appears in the tube. It's not going to be too pigmented. It's just going to be a really, really nice kind of like light wash of this color, and I love it. And this has appeared in my favorites, and I've talked about this, like if you're, I don't know, like wanting to maybe get a little bit of a grungy lip, but you're not ready for like a full-on like matte chocolate brown lip color, then I think this may be like a nice gateway to a grungy lip because it has that kind of coloring to it, but it's a gloss. And then the color that I'm actually wearing today, and I have it layered over a lipstick, which I'll talk about later, and I love wearing this lip gloss as like a top coat. This is the color Aura. So this one is just like a light nude color. It's really pretty. It just gives my lips like a really nice kind of juicy appearance. And this one, now not all of the shades have like a shimmer to them. Like this Phantom or Phantom color, there's like no shimmer to it. It's just like a cream lip gloss. This one has just a little bit of shimmer to it. I think maybe you can see it right there. There's just like little itty bits in there. So it's nothing that's going to make you look like you have glitter lips at all. Not even close. It's just going to add a little something, a little bit more of a juiciness to your lips than the regular like kind of flat cream ones. So this is Aura and Phantom, and these are the two colors that I have been really loving recently. Another standout Tom Ford product is their latest bronzer. Sorry, that's unhelpful. The latest bronzer. This guy, this one in here. So there's Gold Dust, which is color number 1, and then there's color number 2, which is Terra. This is color number 2, Terra. This is much more neutral. The Gold Dust is a little bit warmer, and I've been loving this newer formula. This came out probably earlier this year, but I've been loving this formula, and I have been loving this shade. This neutral shade is just like my perfect go-to. And this has become like one of those bronzers I reach for when I don't really know what I'm gonna be doing with my look, if I'm going for something cool tone or if I'm going for something warm toned or whatever, because it's neutral. It just kind of goes with everything. And I love this formula. It's so creamy. It just kind of like melds into the skin. I have it on my face today. I don't know if I mentioned that. And it just works. It just works really, really well. And I love that it gives me like an overall kind of like nice bronziness, but it's not obvious, you know, it just warms up my skin. And for as powdery of a formula this is, like if you stab your brush in here, you're gonna get a lot of kick up. But for as powdery of a formula this is, I really thought I was gonna hit pan on this much sooner because I do use it so often. The TF is kind of worn off, but I really have not that I use a ton of makeup, but I really thought I was gonna be much further along in this than I am. So it does last for a long time. I think the small size is probably good enough for most people out there. Okay, so this is one more thing I'm recommending. It's one product, two different colors. The Skin Illuminating Powder Duo. He originally had come out with Mood Light, I want to say years ago, but it's this duo. So highlight and like kind of like a bronzer. I say kind of like because these are so high shine that, you know, as a bronzer, it's okay if you want to use it as a bronzer. Maybe it looks a little bit strange. I like using it just a little bit, you know, kind of back here on my cheeks if I just want to glisten a little bit. But these have such an incredible high, wet kind of shine. There is a lot of micro glitter in here, so you have to like that. But it is a beautiful sheen. I don't generally like micro glitters in my face products, but for some reason, these just really work. They just really, really work. I think it's because they're so smooth. It's not like the micro glitters really stand out. You're not gonna be able to see that through the camera, but the micro glitters are so fine, and they're in such a creamy kind of base that it's almost like you don't even notice them right off the bat. But that's the Mood Light. And then the other color I wanted to show you is Incandescent, and this came out much more recently, and this has more of a blush versus a bronzer, and this blush is so beautiful. Look at that shine. I just love these powders because they give such a wet appearance to the skin, and I love that when it comes to highlighters. So the Skin Illuminating Duos from Tom Ford, I love. Very, very beautiful. Oh, I'm such a liar. I'm sorry. Just one more thing from Tom Ford. I did mention this in the Beautylish video, but these emotion proof eyeliners, I love. I love them. I have Dominator on, which is black. And then I have the Byzantium number 12 on in my waterline. And these just stay put. These really are, I hate the name emotion proof. I think it's so awkward, but they really are like waterproof. They go on easily and they just stay put. I've been very, very impressed with them. And they're kind of like that twist up style. And then the bottom comes out and there's a little bit of a sharpener if you want to kind of make the point a little bit more pointy. So these are the emotion proof eyeliners from Tom Ford, which I love. I was really mourning the loss of those Eye Kohl Intense pencils because I think they've gotten rid of those. So I had hesitated in purchasing these because I was just a little bit, I don't know, I was a little bit bitter about it all. So anyway, I highly recommend these emotion proof eyeliners. Okay, let's move on to La Mer. La Mer was one of the brands that I wanted to talk about in my Beautylish video, but because that one was so long, I decided to cut that one out. So I'm talking about it today. And I wanted to just share with you some makeup and skincare that I love from La Mer. Let's start with the foundation, the Soft Fluid Longwear Foundation. I use the color number 22 most of the time. If I'm feeling really pale, I'll use number 12 Natural. But this is number 22 Neutral. It's almost gone. I have not been using this lately, only because I've been playing with so many other foundations like the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation, which you guys know I love, the new Sisley Phyto 10 foundation, which I love. But this one is good. I have it on my face today and I almost forgot how good it was. Like I knew I loved it and I knew I loved it for a reason, but it's so good. It's like, it gives you some decent coverage, much more coverage than a lot of the foundations I'm used to, but it doesn't look heavy on the skin. I don't feel really overly makeup-y. I don't know, it just does such a nice job covering up imperfections, evening out my skin tone, but I feel like the finish of my skin is so natural. It's so beautiful. So I've recommended this and talked about this for years now, and it's still going strong. I love it. I love this one. Okay, now this product has completely baffled me. They told me that they were getting rid of this product, yet it is still around, and I even bought a backup of it because I thought it was going away. I told you all it was going away, but this is their reparative skin tint, SPF 30. I have it in the shade Light 2, and this one is pretty much almost gone. So I am glad I got a backup because I will be using that anyway. But it seems to be, at least most of the colors, except for the deepest one, which is medium, seems to be in stock. And I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what they're doing with this, but I love this. If you want something that's a little bit lighter, a little bit more of like a tinted moisturizer versus this foundation, this is gorgeous. I love this on the skin. It looks beautiful. It's just like the foundation. It's just like a lighter version of it. This one has SPF 20, the foundation, and this one has SPF 30. So this has a little bit more sun protection, and it is a mixture of physical and chemical sunscreen. There's octinoxate, octisalate, and then there's titanium dioxide. So it's a mixture of the two. And I love this. And I have not really talked about this too often lately because, like I said, I thought that they were getting rid of this product, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, thought I would recommend it this time around since most of the colors seem to be in stock. The La Mer Sheer Pressed Powder is lovely. It goes on the skin beautifully. It has a little bit more, it's not a powder that has like a lot of coverage. It's definitely not something that could be substituted for like a powder foundation. Not in any way. But I generally like reach for powders that have very little coverage at all. I really like them to be sheer. All I want it to do is kind of just mattify anything that's too overly shiny or greasy looking, and I want it to set my makeup. This one has a little bit more of a coverage. It's a little bit more visible than something that's completely sheer and translucent. This one definitely has a little bit more of a tint to it. So I feel like personally, if I want a little bit more coverage, if my foundation is a little bit too sheer for certain areas that I feel like need a little bit more help, I will use this powder. There's some other powders that I like to use, but in terms of pressed powder, this is the one that I'll reach for. I have it in the shade Light 12, and it's a wonderful formula. It's very soft. It's very, very fine. It doesn't look powdery on the skin. So I recommend this. And then let's go into skincare. One is the Moisturizing Soft Lotion. This is one that I have recommended time and time again, this is the moisturizer I use at night. I have eczema prone sensitive skin, so this has been a godsend for me. It really keeps my eczema at bay. If I have just the slightest hint of eczema come through, if I use this religiously, it'll generally take care of it. It also kind of depends on my lifestyle at the moment, if I'm getting enough rest, if I'm eating right, all those things, but this will kind of bring it home. This will really kind of eradicate any kind of eczema that I had. And I was actually having some bad eczema up here. I don't know, I can't remember what video it was, but I think I was playing with some eyeshadow. Was it the trying new makeup? Anyway, I think I was trying some makeup and my eyeshadow looked a little bit lumpy up there, but it was because some eczema was coming through. But I've kind of cleaned up my diet. I've been using the La Mer and it's gone away. So for me, it works. It really, really works. I know it has fragrance in there, which a lot of people don't like, petrolatum in there, which some people don't like, but this product works for me. I can't explain it. I don't know why. It works for me. This is one of the very few skincare products of La Mer's that works for me. A lot of the other ones actually give me eczema. The eye cream gives me eczema. Their concentrates give me eczema. And I think maybe it's because there's some ingredients in there that are too concentrated. They're a little bit too strong for my skin and I can't use them. So that is one product from La Mer's that works. I also love their replenishing oil exfoliator. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be flashing all of these products up here. I have them in my bathroom, but my back is still hurt. So I'm trying not to get up and get down too much because it's just going to take too long. So I'll flash some pictures up here, but this is in my shower and I love this exfoliator. It has nice, generous bits in there, but it's sitting in this oil. So I don't feel like I'm just tearing apart my skin without helping it heal. It's a lovely texture. And the granules, like I love a really, really good physical exfoliator. Again, because I have eczema, I can't use chemical exfoliators. I can't use salicylic acid, lactic acid. I can't use any of those to exfoliate my skin. So I have to use physical exfoliators, which I know a lot of people are not into, but it's what works for me and I love it. If you're looking for a physical exfoliator, I do really enjoy this one. And then the last thing I want to mention is the La Mer, the tonic. This is a toner. So it's something I use after I wash my face, or basically after any time water has hit my face. It rebalances my pH. My skin feels fresh after I use this toner, but it doesn't feel tight, but it also doesn't feel oily either. There's some toners out there that I think serve different purposes. If you have oily skin, you may want it to be a little bit more like oil absorbing, but for me, I just want it to like kind of balance the pH of my skin so that it's ready to receive all of the other skincare that I'm about to get into. So I'm a huge fan of the La Mer, the tonic. It has been by far my favorite toner that I have tried for the past, I don't know, 15 years. It just works really, really well. And I should mention that I've been using La Mer moisturizers, not specifically moisturizing soft lotion, but the other ones, the cream and the ones that come in the jars. I've been using La Mer for 20 years and it's just done me right. I just love La Mer. I think my skin looks okay for being 46. I used to suntan a lot. I used to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day and my skin looks okay. My skin looks okay for 46 and I attribute most of it to La Mer. So anyway, let's move on from La Mer. I feel like I've been talking about them for a very long time, but let's move on to Pat McGrath. Wow, I'm scrolling through the Pat McGrath page here and I feel like it would be much shorter to just talk about what I don't recommend, but that's kind of boring. That's so negative. Okay, let's talk about eyeshadows. I love them all. I recommend every single eyeshadow Pat McGrath has ever come out with. The Blitz Astral Quads, I just talked about these 3 in my video, so I won't dwell on these for too long, but I loved all of these for very different reasons. Again, I talked about it in the video, so please feel free to go ahead and watch those. If I had to choose one, I think it would be the Ritualistic Rose. This is the one with the pink in there. I thought it would be the Iconic Illumination because that's the most, I don't know, wearable. Not like any of these are incredibly wearable because they are shiny and glittery and just really loud and proud. But this one, it just really surprised me how much I liked it. And I thought that this gave me an actual like very wearable kind of everyday look, despite it being glittery and bright and pink. But in my video, I mentioned how I really like these pinks because they don't make my eyes look just puffy or like I have pink eye or that I'm diseased or anything. This pink especially has like a much cooler undertone to it. I think you can see it's almost like a plummy kind of pink, and I think that's what saves it. And this one has like a really strong gold duochrome to it that you can see there. So the two pinks in here that I was kind of worried about for my eyes totally worked out because of the undertones or the shifts in them, and they look beautiful. And these two just flow beautifully with, you know, the other two colors. It's just gorgeous. I really love this one. Okay, and in terms of the giant mothership palettes, I'm gonna recommend two. The first one is, these two are probably my two favorites. This one has been my longtime favorite because this is the very first one, the Subliminal palette. And I think this is absolutely perfect for what's going on now. I think with fall, winter coming and also cooler palettes kind of becoming more on trend, I think this one is absolutely perfect. I love all of these shades, the 6 shades in here. And then of course you've got your special shades there. But these 6 right here, they're just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You have like the perfect transition shade. Well, perfect if you have my skin tone, but transition shade here. These two colors are so beautiful. They're like of a satin finish. It's just wonderful. I love this mothership palette. This is the one that definitely surprised me the most. I had gotten all 3 when she, you know, first released the first 3 of these palettes. Gosh, that was so long ago. And I was, you know, the other 2 were so much more exciting, but I just kept reaching for this one over and over again. So that is the Subliminal palette. And then the second one, no surprise, is the Bronze Seduction. This one is just such a good one. I've been loving the new Midnight Sun one, but I'm just not reaching for it as much as I want to reach for these. So 1 and 5 are my recommendations for the big mothership palettes. Her lip glosses are great. I don't think I could narrow down one color for you, and I have almost all of them. I mean, I really love them all. I'm trying to think if I had to recommend one. I know I have recommended Flesh Astral in the past. This is the one that's nude and has a little bit of gold shimmer in there. This one is wonderful. Ooh, I've been loving Future Femme because this kind of like cools down any kind of like other lip products. It's just, I don't know, this cotton candy pink is also just so beautiful to look at. Blitz Gold, I love. Oh my gosh. See, I'm going on and on. This Dare to Bear is gorgeous. It has little shimmers in there as well. I don't think you could go wrong with any of her lip glosses. If there are any colors that really speak to you, I highly recommend it. Aside from the colors, I really like the formula. I don't think that they're overly sticky. I don't think that they're like a lip oil. You know, they're kind of just middle of the road. Most of them have that kind of vanilla scent, birthday cake scent to them, which not my favorite, but I've come to grips with the fact that most lip products are going to smell that way these days. And they make great lip toppers. They look great alone. I mean, I really love them. So the Lust lip glosses, big thumbs up. And then I'll end it with the Luxe Trance lipsticks. And I love these. The matte trance lipsticks are great. I'm just not generally a matte lipstick wearer, but I really like the Luxe Trance lipsticks. I think they're incredibly pigmented. I think they're very smooth. I think her color range is phenomenal. The one color that I've been loving for the fall time, and you guys know this, is Leatherette, but I don't think this color is on Sephora. You know, it's funny. My 2 favorite colors I don't think are on Sephora. I love Lust Angeles and I love Leatherette. I do also love Madame Grige. Is that on here? Oh, Madame Grige is on here. So Madame Grige is this like light lilac color. This color I love. And again, just really perfect for the cool toned looks that we're doing these days. And I love Donatella. So this one is a little bit more neutral than Madame Grige. Madame Grige is so cool toned. Here they are next to one another. So Donatella, Madame Grige, and both available on Sephora. All right, let's move on to Hourglass. And I was actually reminded of Hourglass when I was talking about the Pat McGrath lip glosses because I love these Hourglass lip glosses. These are their Unreal lip glosses, and I have these 3 shades, which I just love. This one is Halo, this one is Solar, and this one is Ignite. And I love Halo as a topper. It just gives a really beautiful, like, glistening effect to any color. Solar is probably the most pigmented, and it's probably the most metallic out of the three. And then Ignite is probably the most neutral. I can wear this alone if I just want like a little something. I love the applicator of these. They have this like really cool kind of like rounded applicator, paddle applicator. I don't know why. It just makes it really easy to put on and really comfortable to put on. It spreads the gloss really easily. And these all have like a little bit of a mintiness to them, which is not my favorite, but it's not overpowering. I don't find them to be like lip plumpers or anything. They just have a teensy bit of mintiness to them. So anyway, those are the Hourglass Unreal lip glosses. I love them. And then again, I talked about this in the Beautylish video, but I really like the Ghost Holiday Collection. This blush quad, I've been using a lot. I really enjoy it. And sometimes I'll just swirl my brush into the whole thing and it's just great. Or I'll just stick with two, you know, I don't know. I love all the colors. They all work really well together. They complement each other and you have like a full range of different tones. You have like neutral, like a cool, warmer shades. Really lovely. It is a very shimmery formula. So you have to like a shimmery kind of blush to enjoy these. So definitely be aware of that. And then I really like this Edit palette. So these are repeat shades and then these are all brand new shades. I really like the blushes in here too. I don't know, I'm just really digging their blushes this season. But anyway, I talked about this Edit palette in relation to their Unlocked Edit palette. The Unlocked Edit palette is the one that came out last year that I loved. Hands down, that is my favorite Edit palette so far. All the shades in there were brand new. None of them already existed. And there was a leak that the Unlocked is being released again this year. I don't know. I haven't heard or seen anything about it since then. But I mentioned that if you were interested in that one and you kind of want to take the gamble and see if that one comes out, but I would definitely wait for that one to come out if that's the one you were interested in, because I'm pretty sure it's coming out. Don't know, but this one is lovely and definitely a very close second for me out of all of the other Edit palettes that have come out. So that is the Hourglass Ghost Collection. Let's talk about Guerlain. So I wanted to talk about this L'Essentiel Natural Glow 16-Hour Wear with SPF 20 foundation. This, unfortunately, has been overshadowed by some of the newer foundations that I have really grown to love, like the Surratt Dewdrop foundation and the Sisley Lafito 10 foundation. But this is a lovely foundation. It's absolutely gorgeous. It looks beautiful on the skin, and it has a little bit more coverage than both of those other foundations that I just mentioned. It's such a natural finish, and I do think it has a very decent long wear. I've never tested it for 16 hours. I think the longest I've ever worn this is maybe 8 to 10 hours, and it looked very nice throughout the day. I think this is great for dry skin if you have it. Oh, and I have it in the shade 02N, which I think is a great shade match for me. There is fragrance in here. It does smell like sweet almond, so I actually don't mind the fragrance, but I would always prefer it to not have fragrance. So I did want to mention that. This bottle is adorable. It has this like cute pump to it. And many people have asked me, you know, would you get this or would you get that? Would you get this or would you get that? They're just different. Right now, I just love the Surratt Dewdrop foundation. I absolutely love it. But that's not to say that this isn't a great foundation. You know, it's just different. And at the moment, I would pick the Dewdrop over this one, but this is a gorgeous foundation. I also love the Guerlain Terracotta Highlighter Stick. I have it in the shade Nude. And the highlight on this is very intense. Very intense. I think you can probably see how reflective that is. And it comes in this cream stick, and it's almost like a cream to powder formula. So it feels nice on the skin. It doesn't feel like too emollient, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel too oily. Now, the one thing, again, I don't mind because I don't mind this fragrance, but some people have said that it's just way too much. This is part of the terracotta line, so it's gonna have the Guerlain terracotta scent in there. And it just, to me, it just smells like the beach. It's a very kind of like suntan, saltwater kind of scent, and I love it. I love it. But some people find it overpowering, and if you don't like that kind of beachy scent, you are not gonna like this. Definitely not gonna like this. But in terms of a highlighter, it is gorgeous. It is very bright on the skin. So I do love that. And then just as like a general kind of statement, I really love the Guerlain Meteorites. So whichever shade you think would work best for you, I love it as a finishing powder. It has a violet scent. So again, If you don't like fragrances, it's definitely not for you, but it has a beautiful violet scent, and it definitely has micro glitters in there. So if you don't like a really high kind of like sheen finishing powder, it's not going to be for you. Most of the micro glitters I think buff away. I really like to use my Sonia G Face One brush as like my final step and buffing everything kind of in. And when I do that, most of the micro glitters in the meteorites kind of buffs away. So it's not like I feel like there's a glitter bomb on my face. I feel like I just see like a little like sprinkling of them. So from their regular line, I use medium kind of all over my face. I also have Doré, which is the deeper shade. And sometimes I will use that over areas that I have, you know, bronzed or contoured. So maybe I'll use it on my forehead. Maybe I'll use it like right back over here. Sometimes I'll do that if I'm feeling a little extra, if I have a little extra time, I will do that. And Sephora also has the new Holiday 2019 Golden Land collection listed here from Guerlain, but they all seem to be out of stock, coming back soon. I'm not exactly sure. I purchased the Meteorites Golden Land from Overstock, and I used it the other day, and there is a reddish kind of sheen to it. And I don't know if you can see it. There's like a red ball in there, and that red ball in there gives me almost like a reddish flush. So I was using this kind of all over just to kind of get a sense of like the coloring of this. Is it too deep for my skin tone? You know, just kind of playing around with it. And I looked in the monitor actually, and then like in my mirror, and I noticed that I had almost like if I were to have like powdered like a very light blush all over my face. So the Golden Land Meteorites definitely has a little bit of like a rougey kind of like tinge to it. I didn't really mind it, but it was obvious enough for me to at least mention it to you guys in case you were interested in this Golden Land. All right, let's talk about Charlotte Tilbury. I love her holiday collection. Just full stop. I love that instant look in a palette. I love her Film Star Bronze and Glow. So if you've been thinking about getting that, or you want a backup, or you think it would make a great gift, I would definitely get that because it has that beautiful Swarovski crystal like top to it, that blue top to it. So a really gorgeous version of the Film Star Bronze and Glow, and it comes with a little travel size brush. So that's a wonderful set. So I love all of that holiday stuff from Charlotte Tilbury, and I mentioned it in the Beautylish, but I wanted to talk about some of her things in her regular line that I really love, like her iconic pressed powder. This is something I probably haven't mentioned in a while, and I probably, you know, full disclosure, haven't used in a while because again, I'm constantly kind of like testing stuff and going through new products or whatever, but this is a definite like old favorite. I feel like if I had to run out and get Charlotte Tilbury all over again, this is probably one of the first things I would get for sure. So her pressed powder, and I use it in the shade One Fair, and I love it. It just is very, very light. It just like sets my makeup down. It mattifies. It's what I was saying about powders in general just before, that it just does what I needed to do without any kind of coverage, without any kind of changing of my foundation shade. Like it doesn't do anything like that. It just sets everything down. It just does a little mattifying so that I don't look too shiny if I've used maybe a foundation that's just a little bit too dewy. It just is a wonderful, wonderful powder. My only very minor complaint about this powder is that I don't think it lasts all day. I think it lasts a good 5 to 6 hours, but then I feel like I see like the shine in my skin kind of come through. So this is definitely a powder that you'll probably want to bring with you, you know, if you used it in the morning. But that's what I find, that it is not like super long lasting. So I love this powder from Charlotte Tilbury, just an oldie but goodie. And then the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. So I have always really, really liked the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. I love her Kissing formula, her Matte Revolution formula. Again, I am not personally a matte lip lover or wearer, but I really liked the colors that she had. I would wear them on occasion. They were fairly comfortable. They were fine. I love her Kissing lipsticks. Those are her cream formula lipsticks, and I've always really liked them. But she came out with her Hot Lips 2 just this past summer, and this was the one that came with these like fun new cases. There was something about this formula, I don't think that they changed, but they are really, really comfortable, like so much more comfortable, I think, than her original Kissing lipsticks. So with her Hot Lips 2, there were some matte shades and then there were some cream shades. And the cream ones were just fantastic. I love them all. The JK Magic is the one that I've used the most, and I just adore it. I adore the formula. I adore the color. It's just wonderful. Highly recommend the hot lips too. If there's a color in there that strikes your fancy, I would maybe give it a shot. I think they're wonderful. Wonderful formula. Another thing of hers that I think is definitely worth mentioning is her lip cheat. I love her iconic nude. I think it's the perfect shade if you want to make your lips look a little bit more pouty, but not too obvious. It just goes with everything. I love it. This is like such a great color. So her lip cheat is definitely a good one as well. Her Hollywood Flawless Filter is amazing. It's magical. And I've always referred to this as like pantyhose for your face. I feel like it's a filter. It really kind of just smooths everything out. It really kind of like adds this like filter to your skin. It's almost like a cream highlighter. It's just a little bit different, I think, in that it's not quite as reflective as a highlighter. It's a little bit more subtle, but then there's just like a tiny bit of coverage, but nothing like foundation, not even like a tinted moisturizer. It's like even less than that. But it's just kind of like this very interesting hybrid product. I think when this came out, a lot of people were very confused as to what it was. You know, is it a foundation? Is it a highlighter? Is it a concealer? Like what was this? And I think it's just a little bit of everything. I like adding this under my foundation. I like adding this a little bit over my foundation. If I use this very sparingly, I can use it alone, just on my skin, all by itself. I think it gives me a really nice glow. It's just wonderful. And I have it in the shade 2. It's just a great, great product. And I don't feel like a lot of people have been talking about this lately. You know, we've been inundated with like so many new wonderful products that I feel like people haven't talked about this a lot lately. So I just wanted to kind of bring this back because this is definitely, I think, one of Charlotte Tilbury's best products. Okay, I'm flipping through Charlotte Tilbury's page. Same thing. I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to cut it right there. We're just going to move on. Let's move on to Natasha Denona. Now, a bunch of Natasha Denona's older 15-pan palettes are on sale, and I believe you get the 20 or 15 or 10% off on top of that. So if any of those have ever interested you, I would grab them now. I think it's a great deal. Her Sunset and her Lila palettes are on sale. Let me see if there's anything else that's on sale. I like all of her larger palettes. I really do. I love them all. The Metropolis palette that she just came out with is gorgeous. Oh, her Cranberry eyeshadow palette, the small 5-pan, that's on sale as well. But I mentioned these two palettes in my beauty list video. I'm just going to mention them again because it's just a great time to take advantage of a sale. Are her original like 28-pan palettes. These are so good. These, I think, could be my favorite of her larger palettes. Here is the purple blue one. Stunning, absolutely stunning. I have to like stop myself from constantly reaching for these palettes. And then here's the green brown, which is definitely, I think, my favorite. One of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes. This is definitely, if I ever lost this or if it broke or something happened to this palette, I would run out, no hesitation, and repurchase this palette. It is gorgeous and the formula is just stunning. So I love these two eyeshadow palettes. I think I've been talking about these for a very long time, ever since I got them over the summer. I did also want to mention her newish lipsticks, the I Need a Nude lipsticks. I have 3 shades and I love them. Hold on, before I go any further, let me just make sure they're not like all sold out because I think when she released them, they were all sold out. Oh, okay, they all look like they're in stock. Okay, I actually may get some. So I have colors Noah, Sammy, and Michelle. And Noah is the color I have on right now. Love it. It's so good. These also smell like vanilla or cocoa. Here is Sammy, which is a little bit deeper. And then Michelle is a little bit pinker than the other two. I love the formula of these. These are very, very pigmented. They go on very, very smoothly. They're fairly long lasting. I was actually surprised when they went on as creamily, is that a word? As creamy as they did. I thought, oh, okay, these aren't gonna be long lasting, but you know, that's fine. That's the trade-off you get. They set down a little bit, not to the point where I feel like my lips feel dry or anything. And then, you know, I drank some coffee, I had some water, I had a couple snacks, and it was still on. And I was just really, really impressed with the longevity of these lipsticks, the pigmentation, and the comfort of them. I think they're really, really great. So I think I'm going to be picking up a few more colors myself during the sale, but I highly, highly recommend these. These two palettes of hers are great. I love them. I love this Bloom palette. It's such a pretty blush palette. Just like the Hourglass, you have to like shimmer. You really have to like shimmer in your blush because these two powders are very, very shimmery, but they have like this beautiful like gold duochrome. Oh my God, just gorgeous. Love that. And then this is the Tan Bronze and Glow palette. This bronzer is definitely a little bit deep for my skin tone, so I just have to be very careful with it, but it works, and I just love the cream products. This is a gorgeous highlight. It's so pretty. I love these palettes. I love the size of them. I think they're really compact, great for travel. They're very sturdy. They have a nice mirror on the inside. I'm just a huge, huge fan of these two guys. Oh, and I'm just noticing the Citrus Diamond and Blush palette is on sale. Now I have both. I have Daria and Citrus. I really liked Citrus. I wonder why it's on sale. I really think it's awesome. Now this color, very unexpected, very, very different. This like lemon yellow for a glow. But if you just kind of brush it over like where you would highlight just really, really subtly, it's so much fun. Or you can just kind of like brush it over your eyeshadow. It's really pretty, and the rest of these are just gorgeous. These are very like peachy colored blushes, and we have some like warmer kind of like bronze highlights here. It's such a fun palette. I love the Daria too while we're at it. This one is not on sale. So this one is 62 and this one is 89. I think this is a pretty decent deal. I mean, these palettes are gigantic, like gigantic. But this is the Daria, which is, I guess some would say, a little bit less daring than the Citrus, which is probably why it's not on sale. But I think both are really gorgeous. And the Citrus, maybe more appropriate for the summertime, but this is great if you want to just bring one palette with you, maybe if you're going on vacation someplace warm. I think this is great. So another good item that's on sale. And as I'm saying this, I hope they're still on sale during the VIB sale, because that would be a real shame if they kind of took away the sale price and then you had to use your discount to get whatever. You know what I'm saying? I hope they remain on sale through the VIB event. Now, I do want to mention Surratt, even though it looks like maybe Sephora is getting out of them, or at least maybe cutting back on the inventory that they carry, but they haven't really brought on any of the newer products that Surratt has come out with. So the Dewdrop foundation isn't on here. His new hologram eyeshadows are not on here. I'm looking at his page, and it's, again, one of those things. I recommend every single thing on here. The lash curler is the one that I use every single day. I know I'm not the only one. Many, many people talk about this. So I'm with all those people. But I think what I would take advantage of most are his brushes. These are wonderful. This is the sculpting brush. I love it. This face brush is absolutely stupendous. These are all made out of squirrel hair, so they're incredibly soft. The only face brush of his that I don't have is the highlight brush, so maybe I will pick it up during the sale. I am fairly obsessed with Surratt blushes and eyeshadows. I have this whole Adept Cosmetics empty palette full of Surratt blushes and Surratt eyeshadows. I love the formula of his powder products because they almost don't feel or behave like powder. They're almost like a powder to cream, not a cream to powder, but like a powder to cream formula. They're just really incredible. They feel like powder in the pan, and when you put them on the lid, they look like powder or whatever, but as soon as you start working it in, all of a sudden it melts. Oh my God, they're incredible. The blushes are just absolutely gorgeous. And I actually just purchased two during the Beautylish gift card event because I wanted to make this a little bit more symmetrical, and I don't have all of the shades. Close, but I don't have all of them. So I got two that I didn't have, but I love them all. They're just gorgeous. The quality is amazing. The colors are beautiful. Yeah. Can't speak highly enough about the Surratt blushes and eyeshadows. All right, and there are two things from Giorgio Armani Beauty that I want to mention. The Power Fabric Stretchable Concealer. I love this. I have it under my eyes today. I have been trying to finish up my Sisley, the Stilo Lumiere highlighter pen. So I've just been using that. It's just been out on my vanity. I've been lazy, but I love this concealer. This one is awesome. It has a really thin texture, but high coverage. And it looks great. It doesn't like sink into my fine lines, which is what I was afraid of when I realized it had such a thin texture. I thought, oh, this isn't gonna sit on top, but it does. It like sits on top of any kind of like imperfections that you may have underneath your eyes. I have it in the shade 3, and it just does such a wonderful, wonderful job under the eyes. I haven't used this on any other parts of my face, maybe just around my nose or whatever, but I would imagine that it would work nicely all over the face as well. But this really, really does a nice job under the eyes. So that is the Power Fabric Stretchable Concealer. And then the next product is, I feel like a broken record for sure when it comes to this, but the Lip Maestro Liquid Lipsticks. These are amazing. They have such a great formula. They're very velvety. It's a very moussey kind of formula, so it goes on, it's very comfortable. And then it sets down to kind of like this velvet finish, but it doesn't set all the way down, so it's not uncomfortable in any way. And it looks great on the lips. I feel like this is like the most liquid lipsticky I can get. Before I feel like it just feels and looks way too drying. These are really cool. And I think, yeah, my favorite color is definitely this 202 color. This is like the lightest nude here. I can wear this with anything. It just works with any kind of eye look or anything that I'm doing because it is so neutral. It's a little bit on the warm side. It just looks so great on the lips. If you haven't tried these, at least go into the store and just check out the texture because it's just really, really cool. I really love them. All right, and let's talk about Koh Gen Do. So Koh Gen Do has some amazing, amazing products. It's funny, it's like when I like their product, it is all of a sudden like my ride or die, like my ultimate favorite. Their cleansing spa water makeup remover, I cannot live without. It takes off waterproof makeup, it takes off all kinds of makeup, and it is so gentle. It really just feels like water. It really feels like it's not going to do anything, but it is the best makeup remover I have ever come across. It is so gentle on my skin. You can't believe that it actually takes off waterproof mascara. You just kind of have to hold it down for a little bit and then wipe it away, and it's gone. It's magic. I love their cleansing spa water. They have it in the cloth version. I always travel with those. Just amazing. And then you guys know how much I love the Koh Gen Do Natural Lighting Powder. Sephora has this on their site because Sephora doesn't have all of Koh Gen Do on here, but they do have a few select products. And this is just one of my all-time favorite loose powders. I love it. This is another one of those like tried and true products. I don't feel like I have to be too careful with it. I can use it around my eyes. I can use it all over my face. Like it just works. It's like a workhorse powder, but it has the finest, most beautiful, like subtle pearly sheen to it. It's almost undetectable. It's almost like you have to stand next to someone who just has like a regular matte powder to see the difference. I love this natural lighting powder from Koh Gen Do. And I love their Aqua Foundation. So I have it in the shade 123, and this is a wonderful water-based foundation, Aqua Foundation. It is long-lasting. I don't know if you guys know this, but Koh Gen Do is a Japanese makeup brand, and they actually started out many decades ago in the movie industry in Japan. So all of their makeup is meant to be long-lasting. It's meant to be used, under hot lights, like under all of these different conditions. And so that's how like all of their makeup is tested under these like pretty rigorous conditions. And this Aqua Foundation, being as like dewy and moisturizing and nourishing as it is long lasting. It's longer lasting than you think it would be. You would think with a foundation that's this kind of like water based and moisturizing that it would just kind of fade away or kind of like melt away by the end of the day, but it doesn't. It's really gorgeous. It's so comfortable on the skin. It has really nice coverage. It's a very kind of like standard rock solid foundation. I really don't know how to describe it. It makes it sound so boring, but it really is just a very kind of like workhorse standard kind of foundation. It makes for a wonderful starting point. It makes for a wonderful kind of like canvas to your face if you want to do other stuff to it. If you want to add some highlighter to it, great. If you want to add some like liquid highlighter to kind of give you an overall dewy sheen, great. This is just such a wonderful like starting point for your makeup. So that's the Koh Gen Do Aqua Foundation. Really, really enjoy this one. All right, guys, let's talk about Viseart. This was really, really difficult to narrow down. I love all of their eyeshadow palettes. I don't think that there's one in there that I'm like, meh, you can pass. I think they're all really great. But I just thought to myself, what are the very first ones I would run out and get? And it would be the Neutral Matte 12 pan palette. I have a couple missing in there because I actually created my own kind of custom palette here, which I don't think you can do on Sephora. You can do on, I believe Muse Beauty Pro is the only place where you can buy the singles. Anyway, I just wanted to point out I have this terracotta shade and the black shade in here, and they belong in here. But this is the Neutral Mattes palette that has been kind of reconfigured into the newer Viseart palettes. So before, their palette was a little bit clunkier, but this one is very nice. It has this like kind of like soft closure. All of the pans in here are magnetized and you can just pop them out, which is awesome. You weren't able to do that before with the older packaging. So the Neutral Mattes is just like iconic. It is, I still feel like when I see new palettes come out that are like neutral, I feel like they always kind of use this palette as a starting point and go from there. Sometimes they just try and knock off this palette, but this palette is so iconic. It is so, it's like what Viseart I think is known for. Like if you were to look up Viseart in the dictionary, this would be next to it. These just blend out smoothly, seamlessly. They blend beautifully together. They play really, really well with other shadows. Just amazing. So that's the Neutral Matte. And then I've also been loving the Cool Matte palette. This has come in really, really handy with the cooler looks that I've been really enjoying. I've been, you know, reaching for like these transition shades, which are just a hint cooler than a neutral. These grays have come in very handy. That like lilac has come in very handy. So that is the Cool Matte. And this has not only been reconfigured into this like newer packaging, but the shades are a little bit different from the original Cool Mattes. So if you have the original one, it's gonna look a little bit different. Like I think the blues in here are a little bit different. Like this one I don't think exists. Anyway, this is the newer version of the Cool Mattes from Viseart. So this one as well. And then this Theory palette is just the best. This is the Minx Theory palette, this one right here. And mine looks brand new because it is. Because I actually had this pan in my custom pan and somehow, I don't know what I did. Anyway, it broke. That particular shadow broke and I was like, oh, what a pain. And Muse Beauty Pro was kind enough in sending me a new one. I couldn't believe it. So this one is gorgeous. I also want to mention, if you guys are Tom Ford fans and you miss that Cognac Sable quad, this is such a good like dupe for it. This is, I think, the closest thing to that quad out on the market. So I love this Theory palette, and this is the same as the 12 pans. You can just pop these shades out and it's so convenient, especially when you start amassing a lot of Viseart palettes and shades. It's like so much fun to be able to kind of like mix and match. And then last but not least, I just wanted to mention their latest edit palette, which is the Dark Edit. That is this guy. And this one is just, it's just so perfect for the fall winter season. I love these edit palettes. They are kind of like mini versions of the 12 pan palettes. So the pan size is much smaller. They're about, I think they're exactly half of these. I'm not sure. I think they're half of those pans, and you just get such a beautiful variety in these, so that you get 2 rows of matte and then 1 row of shimmer. I just don't think that there's another palette out there that screams fall winter the way this one does. Between that orange, the olive color over here, this like purpley shimmer shade. It's so autumnal. It's so moody. I love it. I love, love, love this palette. So that is the Viseart Dark Edit palette. All right, and now I have some like onesie products that I just wanted to mention. I didn't have a lot from the brand. These things just really kind of stood out to me, so I just wanted to mention them. This highlighter I have on my face today. I think it's one of the best like everyday highlighters I've come across in a long while. This is the Bobbi Brown Golden Hour Luxe Illuminating Powder. I believe this is exclusive to Sephora. I'm not sure. I believe this is limited edition for the holiday season. It comes in this like beautiful like limited edition packaging. That is the powder inside. It's just absolutely stunning. I think if you have my skin tone, maybe even a little bit deeper, this is gonna look great for you. If you have a fair skin tone, but it's still warm, I think this will also look great for you. I'm not sure if this would work on fair, cool toned skin. I think this just gives off a really beautiful glow without it being over the top. And I love the formula of this. It's almost like a creamy powder. If you go into store and you see this, just give it a touch. It really is, it feels kind of velvety. I don't know, I just really, really like it. So that's the Bobbi Brown highlighter. And another onesie is from Laura Mercier. I have talked about these blushes to death, but these are the Blush Color Infusion blushes. And today I have Ginger on. That's this one. It's very, very nude. It's very subtle, but I have lots of them and I love every single one of them. They are gorgeous. Some of them have more of a sheen than others. It really just kind of depends on what shade kind of speaks to you. Definitely one of the most interesting formulas I have come across because it's not powdery at all. It feels very hard packed, but it's not like it's hard to pick up product. Product comes up very, very easily. Pigmented, smooth, very, very smooth on the skin, blends in beautifully, just really gorgeous blushes. So the Laura Mercier Blush Color Infusion blushes. So that is it for this video. Again, I feel like I've been talking for hours. So again, do not forget to check the description box, although if you've made it this far, it's too late. But don't forget to check the description box for all the products that I talk about. I'll have links down below. If you use my links, those are affiliate links. I really, really appreciate it when you use my affiliate links. It really helps out this channel. So thank you so much. I will also have timestamps down below if you want to jump around. Again, if you want to come back to this video for reference, you have those timestamps down below if you want to jump around to a certain section. And that is it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I will see you in my next video.